Who would be a Wolves fan, eh?
On goes Paul. Speedball might yet win it here for Wolves. Blasting the shot. What a goal!
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing nice and well on this Thursday evening. It's Little Dan here with your latest Wolves Fancast 90-min match preview. On tonight's episode, I've got with me another two guests. I'm trying to wean some new people onto the Fancast, breathing some fresh blood. I've got with me Josh from Art of Football. How are you, Josh?
Yeah, mate. All sweet, thank you.
Thanks for coming on. The question that I always ask new guests is, if you're not aware, is there's two basic questions. Who's your favourite Wolves player that isn't Steve Bull?
Favourite player that isn't Steve Bull? I'd say probably like Matt. Scored like Murray. When I was a kid, he was like I always had his shirts and that was scored. He's one that stands out when I was a kid.
Yeah, big hero amongst the Wolves fans. I think it's coming up to 20 years since that big playoff final day. But there's an event on at the Grand Theatre soon. I think it's Matt Murray, Mark Kennedy, Nathan Black and Alex Ray amongst a few others. I'm going to try and get tickets for that. We've got another new Wolves guest with us tonight, Morgan Bricks, who's a YouTube vlogger. You can find him at Morgan Bricks on YouTube. How are you, Morgan?
I'm not bad. I'll be better if we beat United Saturday.
Yeah, it's not as big a game as what I thought it was going to be 3 weeks ago, but we'll talk a bit more in depth later on. I'm going to ask you the same question, Morgan. Who's your favourite Wolves player, Morgan? You look a bit young to remember Steve Bull playing.
Yeah, no, my first game was like 2011 against Man United. We lost 5-0. Zubar got sent off. Got a season ticket the season we got promoted when Nuno came in. So probably Jota, to be honest, like from who I've seen.
Yeah, I did enjoy Diago. Massively disappointed when he did leave in the end because, we've missed his and Doherty's goal since they both left. I've got Dan at United First 1878 who's joined us on the Fancast tonight. How are you, Dan?
All good, lads. Thanks for having me on. Excited to talk about the weekend where hopefully we'll see Manchester United get back to winning ways. Obviously not for you boys. And I'll answer the question about favourite Wolves players. I've got to go with Jack Price, who I lived around the corner from, and lovely chap, Jack. Get on really well with him. Really nice guy. Doing really well in Colorado.
That's great. Friend of the Fancast, Jack Price. # Fear the Beard. The Salopian Wonder, the Salopian Perlo. We missed Jack, obviously, playing with Colorado Rapids now. He's always welcome back on the show. I usually ask sort of your opposition fans something different to that, Dan, before you jumped in. I usually ask the question to opposition fans, who's the most, past or present?
Say again. Sorry, mate. I lost you then.
Wolves player that makes you the most, past or present?
Which Wolves player irritates me the most, did you say?
Am I losing it? Oh, bear with me, Dan.
Sorry, mate.
Which Wolves player grates you the most, past or present?
Grates me the most. Oof. Do you know what? I know he wasn't there a long time, but Jay Bothroyd, I can't stand that bloke. I can't stand him. Just don't like Jay Bothroyd. Just don't like him. Talks a big game. I
think there's quite a few Wolves fans who feel the same about Jay Bothroyd, but he scored the winner against the Baggies many years ago, so he's just sort of gets a get out of jail free card for that. We've been trying to chase Jay to come on the show for quite a while now. We're in talks, but we haven't got it over the line yet. The latest sort of Fancast giveaway that we've got as part of the Wolves Fancast, if you head to our Instagram page at Wolves Fancast, we're giving away a VAR T-shirt with a bit of a slang slight on the VAR platform. That is, all you have to do is like the post, follow Wolves Fancast and at FWAW_clothing, and we'll be announcing the winner on the review show on Sunday night. It's game week 36 in the Premier League this weekend. The game week starts with Bournemouth at home to Newcastle. One of the big games in the hunt for Europe is Aston Villa versus Tottenham. Chelsea play Nottingham Forest at home in the relegation battle, which Nottingham Forest need the points, but obviously Chelsea are safe. But I think if we had another 6 or 7 games on top of what we have now, Chelsea would be in serious trouble. Crystal Palace at home to Bournemouth. Obviously, the big game on this channel tonight is Man United versus Wolves. Southampton play Fulham. Quite a few fixtures on Sunday. Everton at home to Man City and Arsenal versus Brighton. Those are the 2 big games on Sunday. And then the game week ends with West Ham versus Liverpool. Josh, going to come to you first on this. Looking at those sort of fixtures on the left, if you're a betting man, who would be your banker for a win this game week?
No, I have to say, I reckon Newcastle. I think, heading to Leeds, they really, need that win. And I think, Leeds are having a hard time. I just can't see any way that Newcastle ain't winning that.
Yeah, Big Sam's got his first game at home at Ellen Road, so it'll be a difficult game, but I wouldn't bet against Newcastle picking up 3 points there. What's your opinion on those fixtures, Morgan? I'm sorry for making you squint so hard. Do you want me to run through the fixtures for you again?
Oh, yeah, if you could.
Right, so Bournemouth, Newcastle, Aston Villa, Tottenham, Chelsea, Forest, Palace, Bournemouth, Man United, Wolves, Southampton, Fulham, Brentford, West Ham, Everton, Man City, Arsenal, Brighton, Leicester, Liverpool.
I think Arsenal-Brighton will be a good game. You say Everton have got City?
Yeah, Everton at home to Man City on Sunday.
Well, I can't see Everton getting anything from that.
What's your opinion, Dan? Where would your money be on this week's game week?
I'm going to annoy you, but it's going to be United Wolves. United have lost 1 game at home all season, and that was first game of the season. Only drawn, I think, 3 times at home this season. I think based on that, I'd have to go with United. But again, sorry, I'm not trying to troll there. It's just. I mean, we'll get into it later on, obviously, into the show. But it's been United's bread and butter this season, the home form. So I have to look at that.
I'm saying, just looking at that sort of the top 10 form table there on the right, Man United have won 2, drawn 1 at the last 4, whereas Wolves have won 3 at the last 5. It is sort of heavily in United's favour, isn't it, Dan? This game on Saturday, the fact that Wolves are now mathematically safe, whereas I mentioned just if we needed the points, it might be a bit of a dilemma for you.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think obviously none of the Wolves players will have their heads on the beach. I don't think that at all. But I think, as you said, that the fact that now you are mathematically safe in what has been, at the start of the season, horrendous for you, the way that you turned it round, and I think you've looked a lot more solid the last few months. I think it is better for you guys, but for us, being at home, the Old Trafford fan, faithful behind them, I just think that's what's going to carry United into the top 4 this season. Hence why I'm quite positive about being at home there.
What actually happened at West Ham last Saturday? Dan, obviously David De Gea had a bit of a calamity, but I know he made a couple of decent saves as well. But where did it go wrong for you? Do
you know what? It's for me, it's a mentality thing. I genuinely believe that. Away from home, Manchester United just seem a different kettle of fish. I've seen us go a couple of goals up in games away from home and just completely capitulate. Our second half performances away from home are just woeful. The David De Gea mistake didn't help. I mean, I have my thoughts about David De Gea. I personally don't think he's all that. I don't think he's been all that for Manchester United for a couple of years. So when the mistake happened, I wasn't shocked. I've been used to seeing him do that over the last couple of seasons. So it's one of them. It's one of them. West Ham are still, and mathematically not safe, but they were fighting for their lives, and it showed. They absolutely battered us. Declan Rice was just different gravy. I mean, I know obviously we go over him being England's answer in the midfield, but I watched him on Sunday. And I was just so jealous of what he brings to a midfield. He didn't lose a battle. He's a player that not only gets the West Ham way, being a West Ham, being at West Ham since a kid, but also he drives his team on as a captain. And I think in Manchester United at the moment, we're missing a few characters like that. I mean, obviously we've lost the centre-back partnership, meaning Luke Shaw's been playing at centre-back, which means then in turn we've lost our left-back. But it's no excuse. You've got to come to these games and you've got to be chest out thinking you can win it. And it just looks like we were defeated from the first kick. So it's one of them. It's one of them. Like I said, away form's been atrocious, but it's the home form hopefully that carries us over.
Obviously, the news that's sort of come out the last few days, you mentioned it's I sort of know your answer now that David De Gea is in talks for a new contract. Obviously, you're not really keen there. I feel like Wolves are quite similar to Man United in regards to the goalkeeper situation, that the both coaches, if they want to play out from the back, which seems to be their philosophy, both of our goalkeepers may have to be upgraded in the summer. Dan, what do you think to that?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think my fear this week with the David De Gea news and the injury that Dean Henderson's faced is I don't think United will look for a new keeper in the summer. I think what they will do is they will stand by De Gea. They've given him that new contract. They've obviously explained to him, I think, game time might not be as much as he's been used to. But my worry is that it will be a battle when Dean Henderson is fit for the number one. Is Dean Henderson, a goalkeeper that you can trust to take Manchester United to the next level? I'm not sold. So I kind of feel like next season we could be in the same situation on the goalkeeper front, where you have a goalkeeper who can't pass out from the back, has one of the lowest percentages in Europe of coming for crosses, and also I think scares the hell out of his defence when they have to turn the ball and play the ball back. The other side of it is as well is when we are playing that ball back, the possession's getting lost because he's just lumping it upfield. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating.
What do you think, Morgan, in regards to that comment I made just about if Lopetegui wants to play out from the back, then Jose Sarr will need to be upgraded in the summer?
The thing with Sarr is like when it's like shot stopping, then he's a class goalkeeper. But I mean, against Villa, it was all right because he just got rid of it straight away. But like, you never feel comfortable when he's passed the ball. Against Brighton, I mean, some people were saying it was Nunez's fault, but I mean, Sarr shouldn't really be passing it to Nunez when he's got two players very close to him. But I just think shot stopping is quality, but when it comes to like distribution, he's just not really going to take us anywhere.
Even recently, we were sort of in different form. Jose Sarr still made massive saves to win us the 3 points, especially sort of the Crystal Palace home game. Josh, he made that a brilliant save from Emi Buendia on Saturday. What's your opinions on Jose Sarr?
I think it's exactly the same. It's the fact that when it when it comes to saves, he's absolutely class. You always got that faith in him. But as you say, when it actually comes, back to it. Whenever I see it, I feel a bit shaky. He doesn't seem that confident, and it's just So if you want to push on, next season, it's that half and half, and as you say, he has won us matches from his saves, and you can't argue that. But then pushing forward, it's what do you value more in your keeper? Lopetegui has to ask that question, I think.
It'd be
Sounds like we're in the same boat, doesn't it, guys?
What were you saying, Dan?
It sounds like we're in the same boat, doesn't it? A goalkeeper that can make brilliant shot-stopping saves, which, I hate to bring in channel my inner Roy Keane here, but it's their job, isn't it? They're meant to make saves, and it's as a modern-day goalkeeper nowadays, unfortunately, you have to have the confidence and the ability to be that sweeper, to be that almost you setting off the attacks, being comfortable coming out of your box to sweep up that ball coming through and being able to start off every attack, and not just by lumping it and hoping someone wins it in the midfield, but spreading that play out along your centre-backs, allowing your centre-backs to split slightly and allowing your two wing-backs to push forward. So it's tough, but that's the modern game, isn't it? That sadly is the way the modern game is played now. Well, I say sadly, it's moved forward, but that's for us. It is sad because we can't at the moment play that football, and we've got two managers who pride their footballing game on passing out from the back, setting off and going. So it's tough. I wonder. I don't know too much about the Wolves situation transfer wise, whether they will go for a new goalkeeper. But like I said, I think United are stuck with that for another season at least.
Obviously, I've not really got a heavy insight into Wolves recruitment, but it'd be interesting to see if Wolves approach the Sevilla keeper. Bono had a good World Cup for Morocco. Obviously, Julian Lopetegui's got history with him. They both went far, winning the Europa League together. So seems to be the type of goalkeeper that Wolves will need if we are going to upgrade Jose Sarr in the summer. The other sort of news that came out of United today, Dan, was Dwight York laying into Eric Ten Hag. I'm not sure how much you read into that, but Dwight York made the comment that Eric Ten Hag has now lost more than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he does get a lot of praise when United do well, but he doesn't get much flack when United get defeated. It seems to be the players who get a lot of the flack. What's your opinions on Eric Ten Hag?
Well, look, I mean, on Yorkie's comments, it's mates rates. He's best mates with Ollie. I didn't hear a single Manchester United ex-player really come out and call out Ollie when he was in charge of Manchester United. I get it. We have lost more this season than when Ollie was in charge. But then we've also won a trophy this season, which is something Ollie wasn't able to do when he was in charge of Manchester United. With regards to Ten Hag, look, I think any manager in the league is going to struggle with the injury problems he's had. Also, they're going to struggle with the fact that we had to deal with the Ronaldo situation. Ronaldo left. We never replaced Ronaldo. Instead, we stuck with Martial, who has played 25% of the games this season. We then went in January. We had the opportunity to get Felix. We wouldn't pay the money. So then we brought in Wout Weghorst. Now, Wout Weghorst, bless him. God love him. He tries. He does try. But that's what you want from any player playing for Manchester United. Just like you guys at Wolves, you want to see a player go out there and give it his all. But sadly, it's the ability that's lacking. He's not a Manchester United player. When you leave Manchester United, when you expect a player to leave Manchester United to go on to play for better clubs. Wout Weghorst will go back in the summer to Burnley, and I think he'll be shipped out back to Turkey. Ten Hag has made some questionable decisions substitution-wise. I will grant that, but again, I think a couple of the mistakes he's made have been naivety. I think a couple of the mistakes he's made have been aggression towards our players when they're not performing. He's just taken them off. But I go back to where Man United are at the moment, and that's I liken Manchester United to Liverpool under Klopp before they won everything. A decent first 11 on their day can do stuff. We've seen that this season, beating Liverpool, beating City, beating Arsenal. But you need a squad. You need a squad to go far in competitions and to achieve what you expect at Manchester United. Now, the players we have coming off the bench, not that. Whereas you look at the City, who can bring off De Bruyne, can bring off, Rodri, whatever, and bring on Phillips, Mahrez, people like that. Manchester United can bring on Fred, can bring on Elanga, can bring on Wout Weghorst. The list goes on. So it's one of them. Manchester United fans, I think, if they're being completely honest with themselves, and I think a lot of fans in the Premier League were being honest with themselves, we didn't expect to be in the top four this season. I know it sounds strange, being Manchester United, being a big club, but we didn't because of so much deadwood that we had to clear out, so much players with egos we had to clear out. But next season, providing the ownership's sorted in time, we could see a lot more of Eric Ten Hag's sort of players that buy his ethos, that can play the way he wants to play. So it's one of them. I'm not. It's his first season, and I'm certainly not gonna go in on Ten Hag because what he's done at the club has been fantastic. We have had some pretty bad losses, but if I look at the season on a whole, we're doing okay.
Like you said, just being in the hunt for top four and a little bit of silverware is probably what you're expecting of Eric Ten Hag at this moment. Going back to sort of what the comments that Dwight York made, I think one of the things that stands out for me under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is that he went 29 games unbeaten away, which compared to your away from this season says it's quite damning, really, isn't it?
It is, but what did we win when we had those 29 games unbeaten away? Like it's It's like I remember when Unai Emery went to Arsenal, he lost his first 2 games, and he went 20 games unbeaten. They still finished outside the top 4. These records, these runs, yeah, they're great. But at the end of the season, you look back on where we finish, and you look back on the trophies we win. It's one of them. A lot of ex-players will always back Ollie. That's just the way it is with football. You back your mates. Does he need to be called out? Well, of course, there are decisions. Like I said, there are decisions that he's made where you think, why has he done that? Starting back Weghorst on Sunday, why did he do that? But on the whole, I think he's done a really, really good job. I think he's done the other side of it as well. Is you got to think that midfield. We lost Casemiro for 9 games through suspension this season. Casemiro, who I think a lot of people will say has come in and changed the ethos in that Manchester United side. So it's one of them. It's one of them. I took what Dwight York said as with a pinch of salt. It really didn't concern me.
Thanks to everyone who's joined us on the Wolves Fancast. Is it me that's got that crackling?
I muted it. It's not me.
Can I just try muting yourself for a second, Morgan? Josh, looking at sort of the Wolves news that came out today, Julian Lopetegui has said that he needs to have a meeting with Jeff Shee to talk about the possibilities of what the war chest is going to be in the summer. What sort of areas do you think Wolves need to upgrade on first, taking into account that we haven't really got a bottomless pit of money?
I think first of all, it'd be interesting to see, who they, want to hang on to. Yeah, are we going to hang on to, Neves, or do we try our hardest? What? Because then, if he heads off, then that, potentially opens up an area. I think, obviously, do you know what I mean? Forwards, our issue, again, obviously has been, scoring. Now, obviously, you've got, I ain't going to try and say his name because, I don't want to, mess it up. Yeah, but our chap that we signed from, Stuttgart, he went down, injured his first, match. He's got to come back. You have to let him have a chance. So I'm still saying, forwards. Obviously, I hope that Costa stays. Just because I don't know. I absolutely love him. Obviously, he's not come in and done exactly what we'd hoped in terms of scoring. However, you watch how much he works. You watch his energy. He looks like he's you know what I mean, he's worked his way into the dressing room, and he has that energy, and of course, you know what I mean, the players look up to him. So I hope he stays. I hope we can offer him something, and he accepts it. But still, we need someone up front who we can who was what Jimenez was. Unfortunately before. What happened. We need that chap to look up front and have that faith that he's he's gonna stick it in the net for us, in my opinion.
Yeah, striker is a big point. Someone made a good comment a week or so ago. I think it was Phil, in regards to we need a striker that makes poor balls look good, which Jimenez did do when he was one of the elite strikers in Europe a few years ago. Obviously, Man United were linked to Jimenez a few years ago, Dan. It's really unfortunate to see the way that Raul Jimenez has gone. Any sort of concerns that Diego Costa may come back to haunt you on Saturday?
Do you know what? I wish I could have changed my answer actually from Jay Bothroyd to Diego Costa. Oh my God, he's something else, that bloke. I mean, I think the other thing with Jimenez before he had that injury was he defended so well from the front for you as well, closed everything down, didn't allow the players to breathe on the opposition side. With regards to Costa, I mean, look, if it's going to be anyone, it's going to be him, isn't it? I don't know where it stands with him. Is he leaving the end of the season? Is it done, or is he said he's staying? Or are you I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything.
There's supposed talks going on. Obviously, I think he's like 34 now. Obviously, he was only supposed to come in as a bit of a makeshift striker because obviously Jimenez was injured, Fabio Silva was out on loan, Sasa Kalajic done his ACL on his debut. We just had such unlucky, just such bad luck with strikers since Raul Jimenez got injured.
What about
He's
the boy?
coming.
What? Sorry, Dan. What about the boy Silva? Is he out on loan?
Yeah, he's on loan at PSV, but apparently he's settled in so well at PSV that he doesn't really want to come back, which it's something that the Wolves need to have a proper discussion with in the summer because a lot of the fans want to see him given a chance as leading the line. Obviously, he did it a couple of years ago, but he was only sort of fresh out of nappies when he was leading the line after Raul Jimenez got injured. Morgan, I'm going to come to you now. Where do you feel Wolves need to improve on in the summer?
I think realistically, the main focus should be a striker because, are we still the lowest for goals scored?
I'm not sure what it is currently, but we're definitely in the sort of top 3 for lowest goals scored this season. We scored 38 league goals last season, which, considering we finished 10th in the end, was really poor. I think we're on 29 goals this season. We need to score 9 goals in the next 3 games to equal last season's record, which is awful. I just don't think we're going to do it. I think we've got to massively improve the squad as a whole for creativity. We've got so many forward players who struggle to sort of break double figures for goal involvements, never mind goals scored. So, yeah, where else do you think we need to improve, Morgan?
I don't really know, to be honest. I think the main focus is a striker because you can't really have Neves and Podence as your top scorers. Like you need to score goals to win games. Like you can probably count on one hand how many games you scored like 3 goals in. I think with the position that we're in now, but we've got like quality players. Like Nunes looks good, Neves. Like we've got a lot of quality players, but we just don't put the ball in the net. Like we have loads of shots, loads of chances, but it's just actually scoring the goals. So we just need like a finisher, like a proper striker.
Dean Marsden in the comments has made a great point. Could argue everywhere for this Wolves team that needs to be improved in the summer. Like I just said, scoring sort of 29 goals. We put the bet out tip earlier on in the season that Erling Haaland would score more than Wolves, and that's coming in cribs in for those who had him at 14-1 earlier on in the season. I hope some of you got on there because I was the one who tipped it on social media, and obviously because I tipped it, I didn't bet on it, and now it's coming in. That's the same how betting history works, isn't it? Put yourself on mute a second. I think it might be coming from you, Morgan. Just let's try and carry on with the show for while we can. Let's talk about obviously the last time out for both sides. Man United lost 1-0 away to West Ham. Wolves picked up a massive 3 points at home to Aston Villa. Josh, it was a big win at home to Molineux. Who sort of stood out for you in that victory?
I mean, like obviously, we scored like Totti scoring like that was we scored massive like we scored, like for him. I hope he really takes that and it we scored like gives him the confidence and I hope he keeps we scored like getting the chances because I really enjoy him. I think we scored like Dawson. He's just old school. Do you know what I mean? We scored like centre back in it.
Does all the basics right, doesn't he, Josh? I think like we've spent £3.3 million on Craig Dawson, and he's improved the whole back line since he's come in. Max Kilman looks so much more assured. Nelson Semedo's improved level since Craig Dawson's come in, having an actual like experienced centre back. I think we've not missed Connor Cody from a defensive point of view, but the leadership and coordination of that back line has been massively improved since Craig Dawson came in, Josh.
Oh yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah, we scored we scored like 100%. Like you hand know. Well, as you say, when Cody went, we scored. Like he was that we scored like leader. Yeah, like he was that head just shouting at everyone. Yeah, when he like scored left, it was we scored a sort of vacuum. And as you say, when we scored Dawson like came in, I'll be honest, I didn't really pay too much like attention. We scored like 2 at the time. Not to say that I wasn't. Like I was happy he came, but then you start watching him, as you say, he gets the like what's called basics, like right. You saw on Saturday, like he's an absolute what's called a threat on set pieces. Like was it it's called like John McGinn had him like in a little like what's called like hold off that.
That was the big thing, wasn't it, Josh? I found that if Totti hadn't scored from that head out, we must have been given a penalty because John McGinn, like you said, he was sort of German suplexed him to the ground. It was ridiculous. The referee gave him a warning before the corner came in. Obviously, Dan, you've been missing Rafael Varane and Martinez for a few fixtures now. Who's your favourite out of those two, Dan? Because they're both outstanding defenders.
Do you know what? It's a tough one because, I mean, Varane, when he's fit, he's just a Rolls Royce. He's just unreal. I think he adds so much calmness to that back four. They're perfect for each other because you've got Martinez, who is just pure aggression, and you've got Varane, who's like, they're like that couple you meet on holiday, the mouthy missus and the quiet husband. That's what they remind me of. I think if you go favourites, you'd have to, I personally will go Varane because I think I've admired Varane for such a long time. What he's won in the game, both for club and country, has just been incredible. And again, like I said, it's just that calmness that I think he looks so much of a better player when he plays with Martinez. So yeah, it's Varane for me. I think it'd be Varane.
I was one of those generic, ignorant football fans that thought Martinez was going to get eaten up due to his size this season. I mean, I'm 5'3" and I'm taking the mick out of a bloke who's like 5'7", 5'8", but that's the generic football fan, isn't it? I think he's been outstanding for Man United, really excelled. Like I said, I thought he was going to get eaten alive by some strikers this season. I even said the likes of Chris Wood was going to eat him alive because I've seen it happen to Wolves defenders in the past. They're like, a lot much more bigger than Martinez, but I think he's been outstanding, and I think there's a possibility that Rafael Varane may be fit for the game Saturday.
I mean, to be honest, for me, I'd much rather keep him. I'd much rather keep him back for a couple more games. I think it's got to be in Ten Hag's head that if he brings him back too soon, we rush him and he gets injured again, and then we miss him for the FA Cup final. I don't think that Lindelof and Shaw, especially when we played at home, have looked terrible. I mean, we all forget that Maguire's on the bench. I get Maguire gets a lot of hate, but at the same time, we've got options there. I wouldn't like us pushing players back if they're not ready. The season hasn't finished yet, and we're going to need a fully fit Varane in that Manchester United team when we play the FA Cup final against City to have any hope of beating them. Any hope, because I know we beat them at home 2-1. There was a highly contentious goal, obviously, but City are just... The second half of this season are a different beast. You need your best players available for it. Simple as that.
Highly contentious, Dan, is very, very polite of you. I'm going to say that because I know if that goal happened against Man United, that referee wouldn't have made it out the ground, would he?
Oh, mate, it was. Do you know what though? And I'm going to say something here that I think we've all done it as football fans. It's offside, but if your team scores it and it gets ruled offside, the first thing you say is, "He didn't touch it. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? He's not touched it. This should be allowed. It should be allowed." But look, the one thing I will say is, what is offside anymore? What is handball anymore? They seem to make the change every bloody week with it, don't they?
Yeah, it's absolute farce. Just going back to Harry Maguire for a second, where does his future lie, Dan?
I mean, look, if Harry was doing what's best for Harry, he'd leave in the summer. And I think he goes to another team, and I think he's okay. I think sometimes when you join a club as big as Manchester United, it just doesn't work out. Sometimes it swallows you up. I feel for him in two senses. So I feel for him, he should never have been made captain straight away. That was a farce. And I'm going to blame Ollie for this, and I'm going to blame Ralph Rangnick for this. He played under two managers that so let me go back. The great managers, they recognise when a player is out of form, they take him out of the lineup and then they reintroduce him. What they did with Harry was they just played him and played him and played him and played him. And what that allowed was these bad performances to become more frequent and the fans to start to notice this and get on his back. I was at Old Trafford a few weeks ago, and every time he touched the ball, our fan base booed him. Now, for me, that's unacceptable. Regardless It is poor, regardless of how you feel about the player. When that player steps on the field for you, you back him. You have to back him. He is representing your club. I get Man United's frustrations with him. He has had a lot of stick this season, and some of it has been deserved. But then he got absolutely battered against Seville, and I couldn't understand why, because that was, again, David De Gea playing a ball into a centre-back who had 3 players closing him down. I don't know what defender in the world could have done anything there. They're saying, oh, well, you get people like myself, like you guys, who sit on the sofa, watch matches today and go, well, surely you could have spanned there. You could have spanned it and done. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. For me, I think the perfect solution for Harry would be to go, but he's on a lot of money at Manchester United and he's still got a bit of time in his contract. So I think he'll stay, and I think he'll, and I say this with bated breath, I think he will, in his eyes, think he can fight for his place, because let's be honest, I think we can all agree Gareth Southgate's not dropping him anytime soon. He's had perfect opportunity to drop him for not playing club football, but he still picks him. So his England place is assured. I think he stays. I think he'll stay and try and fight.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where Harry Maguire ends up. Morgan, looking at the team that Wolves put out against Villa, do you see Lopetegui making any rotations for the game on Saturday?
Well, I was saying recently that I think it'd be interesting to see. Now we don't need you know what I mean? Like, we're mathematically safe. So I thought when Neves was added yellow cards, so he was banned, I thought we played better without him. So I'd be interested to see if he dropped Neves, to see if we continue to play better without him, and just to see whether we need him going into next season, just to test things about a bit. Now it's not really, there's no pressure on us now.
It's balmy on paper, isn't it? As a Wolves fan, and I totally agree with what you're saying, Morgan. But the fact that we're considering a future without Ruben Neves because we've got a formation or a squad that's better without him playing is a bit balmy on paper, isn't it? Where do you stand on Ruben Neves, Josh? Do you feel he has to start on Saturday, or do we need to start preparing without him?
See, I still was called absolutely was called love him. Like, I see what was called what the Morgan says, and we can play well. Scored without him, but I think since Cody is gone, how much he's grown into that was called leadership. Role. I don't think that can sort of be understated, and I put a lot of value in him in that. Aside from the fact that whatever we say about if we play better or not, he's a quality player still, like unreal player, and it's going up against Man United, who. Are going to be going for it. They're going to be wanting to get everything out of these matches. I think we need that chap. We need him in the centre. Do you know what I mean? Keep everyone calm. Do you know what I mean? Keep everyone working. To the same goal. So I do you know what I mean? Start him.
What sort of changes are you thinking from? Go on, Dan.
I was going to ask you a question, all three of you, about Neves, because I remember the last game of last season, he was crying on the pitch, and I thought he'd gone, and I thought, oh well, he's that normally means you're gone. So, do you know what actually happened there? Was it a case of they just said, give us one more season and then we'll let you go? Because it was a bit of a bizarre one. I couldn't understand why he'd be so upset at the end of the season.
Have you got any input for that, Morgan?
Well, I was unsure, to be honest. I thought, like you say, when you see a player crying, having been there for so long and carried the team so far, to be crying at the end of the season and then stay, I just thought it was a bit weird. I was kind of expecting him to go, to be honest.
Yeah, from what I gather, Dan, is that he was under the impression a move would come, whether sort of Wolves got into advanced negotiations with anyone seems to be not certain, but like I said, from his reaction, the rumours you hear coming out of the club is that he was of the mindset that he was definitely leaving. There were rumours that he'd sort of had the house removal experts in because he was so certain he was going to move. Wolves obviously didn't get the bid that they expected of the player with 2 years left in his contract. I'm still really unsure if he's going to leave this summer because I'm not sure what clubs out there need and want Ruben Neves in their midfield. I think Liverpool were linked to him. He's not mobile or intensity. Hasn't got the intensity for a Liverpool midfield for me. I think he'd be a good acquisition for Man United and Newcastle United if they were to get in the Champions League. Even if Newcastle got into the Europa League, it'd be surprising if Wolves could keep Neves here if Newcastle did come in for him. But like I said, I'm not really sure what clubs out there Ruben Neves could end up this summer. It might be the case that Wolves end up giving him a bumper deal with maybe a release clause in that if we get a high bid next summer, he can leave. It's one that I'm not really looking forward to seeing what happens this summer, Ruben Neves, because, like you said, Josh, I love him, you love him. He's been an absolute legend at this club. Has been at the club longer than any of us ever even imagined. Because after we got promoted, if he would have left that summer, the first season we were going to the Premier League, I wouldn't have begrudged him because you could see he was an outstanding talent right from then. Like I said, it's going to be a long summer watching Fabrizio Romano talk about Ruben Neves and every other player. It's not as hard for fans, Dan, as it is for United fans because you have to take every transfer with a pinch of salt, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree. I think that's the thing. He's a player that you look at players who don't get the move, and sometimes they just throw their toys out the pram, and it doesn't seem to have happened like that. So I think big props to him for that. He's got his head down, hasn't he, and cracked on.
Yeah. Going to come to the score predictions part. I'm going to come to you first, Dan, as you're our guest on this week's show. What's your score prediction for the 3:00 kickoff on Saturday between Manchester United and Wolves?
I'm going to go 3-1. 3-1 United.
3-1 United. Josh?
It's always I mean, I can't say anything else. I'm going to go 1-0. 1-0, do you know what I mean? Yeah, we scored the same as scored like last season.
Yeah. Are you back to get the goal on Saturday, Josh, in the 1-0?
Hopefully, we'll score at João Moutinho again.
Oh, God.
I quite enjoy that.
Yeah, Dan's out already having sort of PTSD from the January fixture last year where we picked
You ruined it. You ruined it, boys. You ruined it. That was the comeback of Phil Jones. That was cometh the hour, cometh the man, and Moutinho absolutely ruined it.
You're talking. We spoke about Harry Maguire and the flack that he's had over a previous couple of years. Phil Jones has been so unlucky at Man United. Social media has absolutely ruined that defender, hasn't it? Where does his future lie, Dan?
I think he'll retire. I think he'll retire at the end of the season. There was an interview done with Ten Hag a few weeks ago, and they said, "Phil Jones, where is he?" And he said he hasn't trained once since he's been there. It's just injuries, and it's so sad because I can still remember a young Phil Jones's debut against Chelsea for Blackburn when he pocketed Didier Drogba, and there was so much promise. I remember when Sir Alex Ferguson signed him and said this guy is going to be unreal. I think he's been mismanaged at Man United in certain ways. He should never have had a 5-year contract given to him when he did. The abuse he gets, I think, is just unreal. We all love a bit of banter, but I think you can destroy someone with that abuse, and I think that's part of the reason why he will retire. I think a lot of it is obviously his physical illnesses, physical injuries. But I wonder if there's a mental injury there as well, because he's taken battering after battering after battering. And I remember against you guys last season when he come back and he had a really good game. I mean, other than the header, he was the one that knocked the header out for the goal. But I thought it was a touch of class because Luke Shaw come out after the game and said, this bloke has been absolutely battered by, trolls online and media pundits. And for him to come out and give the game he did was extraordinary. So I feel for him. I really do. But look, it's one of them. Sometimes it doesn't work out. And sadly, this is what's happened here.
Dan's predicted 3-1 to Man United. Josh has predicted 1-0 to the Wolves. What's your score prediction, Morgan?
I reckon 0-0, to be honest.
Dan would be massively frustrated dropping 2 points at home, wouldn't you, on Saturday, Dan? I'm going with I'm going to go with a high scoring 3-3 draw on Saturday. I think, like Dan said, Man United are quite impressive at home, but I feel the fact that Wolves haven't got anything to play for, it wouldn't surprise me if Adama Traore gets some minutes on Saturday, and I fancy him to sort of end the season on a high because he's playing for a contract somewhere. Adama is. And he usually gives Luke Shaw a torrid game. So I'm going with 3-3 on Saturday between Man United and Wolves. Some other quick news before we end the show. Wolves announced today that we're heading to South Korea in the summer to play Glasgow Celtic and AS Roma in I think it's the city of Incheon, which could be interesting. Obviously, Hwang Yi-chan will be making his return with Wolves in the summer. Hopefully I can go. I need to have a look at the flights over there, but a great experience for Wolves fans. Hopefully the ones that went to the Asia Cup a few years ago will be able to return, try and help this club grow a bit more over there in Asia. Just want to talk quickly about Dennis Irwin, because what a player for both sides on Saturday. A couple of free kicks there. Free kick for Man United there on the left was against Crystal Palace in I believe it was the FA Cup semi-final, Dan. Crystal Palace absolutely murdered Wolves in the quarter-final that year. So that free kick is a nice touch. But, I mean, he was amazing at Wolves. Obviously, Morgan, you mentioned the 5-0 against Man United. So Dennis Irwin's probably a bit before your time as well. Did you enjoy watching Dennis Irwin at Wolves, Josh?
I'll be honest. I he was just as I was kind of. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I was scored getting into it. It's like I remember him. Yeah, I was scored vividly. I remember. Yeah, I was scored that shirt. Yeah, and I can. I was see him in that shirt. But I mean, scored like my old man's always told me. Yeah, what a player he was. So it's, do you know what I mean? Yeah, he enjoyed him anyway.
That's the podcast. That's the problem with podcasts nowadays, Dan. You just don't realise how old we are compared to these youngsters who don't remember.
I was sat here thinking the same thing. I was sat there thinking I can remember him in the first, in like 93, 94 for Man United. So I'm just kind of like, thanks, Josh. Thanks, Morgan. Love it.
Yeah, Dennis Irwin was literally Mr. 7, 8 out of 10, wasn't he, Dan?
Mate, do you know one of the reasons Man United was so successful in the early 90s, well, in the 90s anyway, was because you had Dennis Irwin and Gary Neville, who were both just 7 out of 10 every game. And the thing with Dennis Irwin as well, I mean, other than Philip Lahm, I'd say he's got to be one of the best right-footed left-backs ever to play the game. Unreal. Just brought so much to the game. He chipped in with goals, didn't miss many penalties. Before Beckham was on the scene, he was taking free kicks for United. He just the ultimate professional. I always think that the best professionals are the ones that you don't hear much of outside of the game when they're playing. And he was just unreal. And Alex Ferguson absolutely adored him. The whole Manchester United team did. And actually, I think the guy's got the patience of a saint, because he used to share a room with Roy Keane, and I think that would be quite a tough room to share. But no, he won almost everything in the game, didn't he, at club level? Ultimate professional.
I think his roommate was Paul Ince at Wolves as well. So, like you said, absolute saint. But just like I said, what a player. Obviously, Wolves got him at the back end of his career. We got promoted in his first season, stuck with us for another season. That's probably one of the harshest travesties in football, that Dennis Irwin ended his career on a relegation, because what a player, what just an absolute, just solid professional, like you said. Going to end the show with what I usually end with, which is what I call our sudden death squad. So I pick a game between the two clubs of that week from previous years gone by. So I think Dan, you might be one of the favourites to win this week, because the fixture that I've picked this week is Man United 1, Wolves 0 from August 2003. So what you have to do, guys, is pick a player that started in the game that day. If he was a substitute and came on, you have to go again. I'm going to come to you first, Morgan. Man United 1, Wolves 0, August 2003. Can you name a player for either side that started that game that day?
To be honest, I don't think I can. I wasn't even born.
You can't. No, you're not. I'm not having that. You can't have that. You can't bring my age into it just yet.
Yeah, come on. Just think when 2003, Morgan, you must have seen like highlights. Obviously, Kenny Miller scored the winner at Molineux that season. You must have remembered some of that. You must have saw replays of those games. Try and guess me a player from Wolves 2003.
Honestly, I have no idea. I was born the year after it, so.
Morgan, what are you doing to me? You're making me feel the oldest person in the world.
Just throw a guess out there, Morgan.
Honestly, I've got no idea.
Morgan, you're terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Sorry.
You know what? You should do like 5 press-ups as a forfeit for not even like. Even if you would have just said Steve Bull and had a guess, I would have like let you off for not doing 5 press-ups. Dan, give me a player that started in this game.
Well, I was at the game, so I'm going to go with the goal scorer, John O'Shea.
John O'Shea did score the winner that night for Man United. Josh, can you try and guess me a player from that game?
I'm gonna go. Scored Kennedy.
Mark Kennedy. Need to double check that one. You didn't even need to. I might as well just play it against you myself, Dan, because Mark Kennedy didn't play that game. I need to start inviting people who are like 35 plus. The what's it called? The gammons of football podcasts. The answers. Bear with me a second. I'm going to pull the teams up on the screen. We'll go through it together. The answers that you could have had
I was going to say, can I try and do the United team, but go on.
Go on. I don't know whether you probably just saw some of them names there.
Yeah,
Tim Howard in goal that night.
So I know. Yeah, Howard was in goal. I'm going to go Phil Neville, Solskjaer, Kleberson, Diego Forlan, Van Nistelrooy, Roy Keane, Jemba. I'm trying to think. 2003. Big Ronnie, Ronaldo.
Cristiano Ronaldo made his home debut at Old Trafford that night. Dennis Irwin actually pocketed Cristiano Ronaldo that night. But Man United ran out 1-0 winners. Roy Keane, and I believe it was... Who was in defence? I think it may have been Roy Keane and Gary Neville who was centre half that day.
Yeah.
Obviously, Eric Jemba and Kleberson with the midfield. Man United front four, Diego Forlan, Cristiano Ronaldo, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Ruud van Nistelrooy. For the Wolves fans out there who remember that game, Henri Camara missed some absolute sitters that night for Wolves in his orange boots and Senegal sweatband. He was up front with Nathan Blake. Behind them, Alex Ray, Sean Newton, Paul Ince, Colin Cameron. Michael Oakes was the goalkeeper for Wolves that night, with a back four of Dennis Irwin, Paul Butler, Jody Craddock and Lee Naylor. It's been a long episode, guys. Thanks for joining us on the Wolves Fancast, at Wolves Fancast on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and I think I did mention Twitter. Me and Josh have got an upcoming charity game at Molineux on June the 2nd, which we're playing on behalf of the mental health charity Mind. Hopefully you can help us donate to the fundraiser. We're well over £1,000 now, which is going to Mind, which is massively appreciated. You'll find the link for the fundraiser below. I know there's quite a few live viewers tonight who are eagerly awaiting the announcement of who has won this charity football card. There's 40 places. It was £5 to go, so that's £200. That's going to mental health charity Mind. We'd massively appreciate it. I'm going to scratch it now, but you're gonna have to bear with me while I pull this €1 out of my pocket. You could have, so there's people, Wayne Morgan who's had Newcastle, Tom Westwood who's had Leeds, Wolves sort of podcast cousins, the 77 Club have had Bolton and Swansea. Kieran Newey, he's had West Brom. I'm going to announce the winner now, guys. Let me just quickly scratch it off. The team that I've scratched off, if I can put it to the camera, is Bolton Wanderers, and the winner is who did I say I had Bolton? Quick, bear with me. The 77 Club have won our football charity. God, we'll be in touch with the guys from the 77 Club to play in our charity game on June the 2nd against me and Josh, who's participating on the Wolves Fancast team on that day. Like I said, quickly, thanks for those who joined us tonight on the Wolves Fancast YouTube channel. Please press the like button before you leave. It doesn't cost you anything, just a bit of finger action. So, drop a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks for joining us on the channel tonight. Thanks to Morgan, who you can find at Morgan Bricks on the YouTube channel. And Josh, before we go, where can everyone find yourself at Art of Football?
So on Instagram, search what's called art underscore of underscore what's called like football. Same on what's called like Twitter, and we're there.
Thanks to everyone who's joined us. Thanks to Dan coming on. Hopefully, we'll get you on again next season for the preview show, Dan, because it was a bit touch and go whether we were going to have a Man United fan on next season a few weeks ago. But Wolves fans, we're safe. We're heading to Man United Saturday, relaxed, composed, and hopefully going there to play some free-flowing football, which gets us 3 points. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Sunday for our match review show. Take care, everyone.